Hi everyone, Heather here with PersephoneReturns.com, and today I am back with another weekly forecast. This one is for Monday, May 21st, all the way through, let's see here, Sunday, May 27th of 2018. And this week is actually looking to be a really beautiful, really powerful week. We have a lot of really great stuff going on in the astrology and a lot of really good energy for the water signs and the air signs in particular. But pretty much everyone in the chart is going to benefit in one way or another, especially if you have your sun, moon, rising in in the water signs in Pisces, Cancer, or Scorpio, toward the middle degrees. And also if you have your sun, moon, rising in Gemini, Aquarius, and Libra toward the beginning degrees. And so we'll get into all the specifics of that, but everyone can benefit from these transits that are coming up this week in a variety of ways, right? And so this week we have a lot of really powerful, harmonious energy with a lot of trines going on. This is very much the opposite of the energy of last week, which was really chaotic, explosive, aggressive. When we had Uranus at the volatile 29th degree of Aries, moving into the 0 degree of Taurus and initiating that transit right off the bat with a square to Mars, right? And Mars square Uranus is impulsivity, it's aggression, it's things that are happening sort of that are shocking us into taking action. And so it was a little bit of a tense energy throughout the week last week, even as we came into the end of the week, which, still started to have some good energy, right? So the good energy started to come in toward, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and all of that. But really this week, coming up here is when we're going to see the most benefits. And there's a couple different reasons for this. We start off the week with Mercury making a really nice sextile to Neptune, which helps us to be more loving, more compassionate, more idealistic in our mindsets, and more creative in terms of our language and ideas. And it's just a nice energy overall for creativity through self-expression, through communication. And then we're going to be having a couple days, actually the very next day, so that's actually on Tuesday that happens with Mercury. Mercury will also be opposing Jupiter, so we might not be super realistic in our thoughts, ideas, plans, and goals, but we'll be optimistic, right? And so that optimism, I think, is needed right now for a lot of people. And the other thing that's going to be going on is that we're going to have the sun, which is now transiting the sign of Gemini. So happy birthday, Geminis. The sun will be coming into a really nice trine with Mars in the sign of Aquarius. And so this trine between the sun and Mars brings a lot of motivation, inspiration toward achievement and toward, reaching our goals. It gives us that momentum to move forward again. And so we have this sort of idealistic, compassionate energy coming in, not just from Mercury, which is a minor sort of fleeting aspect in this really nice sextile with Neptune. But we also have Neptune trining Jupiter for the second time this year. The first pass of this was actually at the beginning of December of 2017. And this is a threefold transit that's really a really beautiful benefit for this year. And it brings in a lot of compassion, a lot of idealism. It helps people to see things through a more compassionate, loving, altruistic light. It helps people to gain better perspective on what's going on in their own lives and in sort of a global sense. It makes things flow a lot more easily when it comes to our creativity, when it comes to our spirituality and our sense of these other dimensional energies, looking behind the veil, beyond just the physical, tangible, and what's going on the outside, looking at the reasons why and what's going on behind the scenes, and being able to understand that a lot more easily. A lot of things are going to be unveiled throughout this coming week. And this is a really beautiful energy for manifestation. And I don't like using that word manifestation. I think it's overused. It's kind of like cliche. And it's lost a lot of its meaning, but this really is one of those energies where you can visualize something, your hopes, dreams, and plans, and then, later on down the line, they might actually be made manifest, especially because we have this very physical energy of Mars in the mix with the sun, which helps us to achieve and to accomplish. It motivates us, and we're going to be much more optimistic and hopeful when it comes to our plans and goals, so we're more likely to take action on them. We're more likely to think like, okay, yeah, I can actually do this. And when you feel optimistic about what it is that you're envisioning, envisioning and your ability to actually carry it out, you're going to be more likely to do it, and you're going to be more likely to succeed. You're not going to be likely to succeed if you're initiating something at a time when you feel burdened and heavy and you feel pessimistic about what it is that you're doing, because a lot of times, in that state of mind, we give up before we've even started. This is the opposite of that. This is like, I see it, I feel it, I can experience it in this sort of broad sense. I know what my goals are, and I feel like I can actually move forward and achieve them. It might be a little hard to fill in the details and the gaps, with this Mercury opposition to Jupiter, but at the same time, Mercury in Taurus thinks about things in a way that's very grounded, very practical, very down to earth, and it doesn't just jump into things all willy-nilly. It takes the time to plan things out and to make the right decisions, right? And so it moves slowly. And so I think that there is potential to actually make things work with this transit as well. So this is really good for figuring out what your goals are, envisioning the future, and actually being motivated to take action toward those goals and plans. And so this energy that came the first time in December with Jupiter in a nice trine with Neptune, it's coming again this week, and that's going to be on Wednesday. You're going to be feeling it all week. It's a very powerful, it just feels very optimistic and very light, very creative. This could also be an energy that causes people to become a little lazy because things just feel easy, especially if you do have Sun, Moon, Rising in Scorpio or in Pisces or in Cancer at those middle degrees that we just talked about. You might feel yourself kind of slacking off a little bit. And that could be part of the energy, right? Maybe you need to escape. And this is kind of escapist energy, but it's an energy where you can escape and indulge, and it's actually favorable to do so. So if what you really need is a break, instead of just motivating yourself to jump in and do things, I'm always an advocate of utilizing the energy to create something and move forward with something and this and that. But sometimes, you just need a break. You just need a chance to relax and to decompress and to regain your composure, to get that broader perspective and take yourself out of the situation. And this is a good week to find that as well. And the last time this transit will be coming exact will be toward the end of the summer. So in August will actually be the last pass of this Jupiter trine to Neptune. And so the things that were sort of initiated back in December, they might come back around right now, especially at the end of November and beginning of December. So looking at where this was in your chart and the themes that are coming up for you and thinking back to that time can actually help you to understand what's being created very gently and very easily throughout this year-long process that will really be made manifest, that'll really unfold for you in August of this year, so in just a couple of months. And so we're revisiting, we're internalizing this process and these plans, and then we're going to move forward with something, and it can actually be made manifest as we come into the fall of this year especially. And so it's a big week and a big energy. I think that, it's important to take hold of and to understand. And it's nothing super crazy and chaotic like last week, which is good. It is going to be a little bit more subtle, a little bit more gentle, but, it's powerful nonetheless. And so let's get into the forecast for all 12 signs. All right, and for Aries rising, there's a lot of good stuff going on this week. So first and foremost, at the start of the week, you have this really beautiful energy connecting your second house to your 12th house. The 12th house is the house of dreams. It's the house of your spirituality. It's the house of the way that you escape and hide yourself away from the world. For contemplation and introspection and things like that. And this is actually coming into a really nice sextile with Mercury, which is in your second house of money and finances. So this is a time when you can really picture what you want when it comes to your resources, your foundation, and your roots when it comes to your material possessions. And you can create really solid plans for the future through that visualization process, through that innate understanding from another perspective, from another world, from another realm, that everything is connected. And so you can start that process through your dreams, through things like visualization techniques, through meditation, as woo-woo as that sounds. For you this week, that's actually something that is going to be quite helpful. So visualizing what you want in that area and then taking that visualization and turning it into some sort of plan for action, some sort of creative plan for creating resources for yourself or for balancing your budget in a way that you maybe didn't think of before. There's going to be a lot of money on your mind, but it's going to be in a more of a positive way this week. And the other thing that's going to be happening for you for Aries and Aries rising is you have this really nice trine going on here between the sun, which is in your in your third house of communication, and Mars, which is in your 11th house of friends, right? So this is really beautiful for feeling motivated to connect with new people, new relationships, initiating new group projects with people in your various networks, be that, friends or social networks or networks through your work and your job. And this is a really good week for communication and for communicating very directly with people, communication that helps you to achieve more success. Maybe, you work in marketing or you do something that involves communication. If that's the case, then this is a time that is going to be quite fruitful for you in the work that you're doing. This can just enhance communication with, the people that you come into contact with on an everyday basis. So you can have really beautiful, inspiring, and motivating communications with your neighbors, your extended family, your siblings, the people that you interact with as you're just moving about your own neighborhood and your own community, like at the grocery store and in line at checkout or, at the gas station, whatever it is that you're doing, right? In your day-to-day life, the people that those small interactions are going to be much more inspiring and much more significant for you this week. And anything that you want to do involving friends, communication, this is a great week for you to have some sort of social gathering, to go out and socialize with friends, to connect and communicate with as many people as possible, because a lot of great benefits can come through this. And you can even get maybe somebody in a position of authority who wants to help you or who pushes you in the right direction when it comes to, engaging in these types of endeavors this week. And the other thing you have going on is you actually have Jupiter, which is in your 8th house. The 8th house is the house of sort of deep-seated fears, issues, anxieties. It's the house of empowerment. And so when Jupiter is coming through your 8th house, it's a process of empowerment, right? But it's a process of empowerment through expanding and looking at your fears, your insecurities, the things that you might not necessarily want to look at that cause you to feel disempowered, so you can work through those issues much more easily throughout this time and become more empowered through that process. And one of those things that's related to the 8th house, of course, is debt, taxes, other people's money, joint finances. And so this is a time when you can really, again, this is about that visualization, turning inward. This is a good time for you to spend time away from the world, because the 8th and the 12th house are both houses that are not necessarily out there and in your face. They're hidden, they're secretive, they're behind the scenes. And so spending time behind the scenes, spending time taking yourself and removing yourself out of a situation can help you to see how to heal through it, can help you to see what the deeper issues are that are unresolved, that are causing your issues and problems, that are causing you to give away your power or to feel disempowered in one way or another. This is also the house of deep healing, healing from the inside out. And so any sort of spiritual healing, any sort of deep psychological and emotional healing process that you've been needing to go through, you can tap into that energy and understand it a lot more easily this week. This is a good time to take care of your finances or to visualize how you're going to get yourself out of debt if that's something that you're dealing with, which I know a lot of people are. And, it's overall just a really good week for whatever's going on behind the scenes. You might feel kind of optimistic or obsessive over some sort of new project, new creative pursuit, new spiritual pursuits, something, dealing with spirituality and the occult or something along those lines might come up as a theme for you this week. And all of those things are positive and beneficial. For Taurus and for Taurus rising. So a lot of really good energy happening for Taurus and Taurus rising this week. You have Jupiter transiting your 7th house of relationships in opposition to Mercury in your 1st house. There might be some situation toward the beginning of the week where you're overly idealistic or overly optimistic about some sort of interaction and relationship. Maybe you're really optimistic about a date that you're going on, or a new client that you're taking on, or a new connection in business, or a new lover or something like that. And you might have an unrealistic idea of what might occur as a result of this interaction. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. You are going to be optimistic and hopeful as long as you're able to keep your feet on solid ground in that very Taurus way. I think it should be fine. And then the positive things that are happening this week, there's a lot actually. So you have this really beautiful trine going on here between the sun in your second house of finance and Mars in your 10th house of career. And what this indicates is that you can initiate something this week that can be very, very fruitful for you in terms of your career success and your monetary goals. And so you can achieve a lot this week when it comes to your career, your public life projects that help you to generate more money, more income. Even if it's something simple like just going and asking for a raise or applying for a promotion, which I guess that's not necessarily simple, but these types of things can be very fruitful for you this week. And, with Neptune in your 11th house of friends and, networks and even networking with, people in business and things like that, that's associated with the 11th house as well. Groups of people, the internet, all of that. You've had Neptune transiting that area, which has made things a little foggy and confusing for you. You are already more prone to putting on the rose-colored glasses when it comes to the groups of people that you surround yourself with, the networks that you create for yourself. And so you have these moments where people are able to deceive you quite easily because you see them through the lens of love and compassion. You see what you want to see in these situations. And, right now you'll be able to see things a little bit more clearly. And a lot of great benefits can come through the compassionate nature of your friendships and of your relationships and of your close partnerships. This is a really great time for you to engage in romance, right? Because when we talk about Neptune, we're talking about this very dreamy, romantic energy, and it's channeling this into your 7th house as well of partnership, right? Of commitment. And so it could even be that, maybe a friend turns into something more than that this week for those who have very specific influences in these areas. That's going to be strongest for those who have their descendant. So their ascendant and descendant at around 16 degrees in Scorpio and Taurus. So if you're a Taurus rising and you have your rising sign closest to 16 degrees, so I would say, 14, 15, 16, 17, even up to 18 degrees, you'd be feeling this the most. You're going to be one of the ones that receives the most benefits through this loving, compassionate nature of your relationships this week. Your relationships are going to be much more dreamy, much more relaxed. You're going to be able to escape into relationship a lot more easily. And so a lot of great benefits can come from those areas of life for you this week. So that's for Taurus and for Taurus rising, a lot of good things. Which is good too, because you guys just had Uranus, which just started transiting the ruler of your sun, moon, and rising, right? And so there's a little bit of disruption. You probably saw the beginning sort of seeds of what's to come with Uranus and Taurus, right? And so now you get things softened up a little bit. You're starting to sort of, you can pull yourself away from the change, the chaos, that sort of unsettled energy, and pull yourself into relationship this week, pull yourself into your friendships. And I think that's going to be really a beautiful way to sort of escape and let loose and relax and sort of, disengage from some of the tension that you might be feeling. All right, for Gemini and Gemini rising, a lot of really nice benefits this week that are coming directly to you. They come from, so you have right now the sun in your sign, so happy birthday, especially for Geminis who have their sun at the first couple degrees. Not only is it your birthday, so if your birthday is like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of this week, even into Thursday, you have some really great energy for your chart. And you'll have Mars in a really nice trine with your sun for your solar return, which indicates that this is going to be a year of great achievement and great success. And you'll be highly motivated to accomplish your goals this year. And you'll be very easily able to set your sights on what you want to do and to actually do it. So this is a good year for achievement and accomplishment for those born within the first couple of degrees of Gemini. And for you, for Gemini, sun, moon, and rising in general, this is all about you, your wants, needs, desires, and beliefs, and connecting your search for meaning, your search for adventure, your drive to learn through experience and to do things that are exciting and new, and sort of break you out of stagnancy and complacency. You're going to be motivated to tackle these new endeavors a little bit more so this week. There might be some sort of benefits toward achievement that come through higher education, through teachers, through travel, through experience that you can engage with this week a lot more easily. And you might be a lot more motivated to jump into something like planning some sort of big trip or planning some sort of educational pursuit. Maybe it's a trip that you take that is for educational purposes, right? Or some sort of spiritual trip where you're learning about different philosophies All these things fall under these realms. And then the other things that are going on for you are mostly work related, but in a very positive way. So you have Jupiter in your 6th house coming into this really beautiful trine with Neptune in your 10th. And if you're a Gemini, you've been having probably a good amount of confusion around your career goals and plans, especially right for you right now, if you have your midheaven around 14, 15, 16 degrees in the sign of Pisces, because you're having Neptune transit your midheaven, which brings a lot of confusion. It brings a lack of clarity and this like fogginess around your career goals and plans, unless you're doing something that's very creative and very spiritual in your career, which you might be with Pisces on your midheaven, but it just depends on where the ruler is. There's a whole bunch of stuff that goes with that. But in general, there could be a fogginess, a confusion, a lack of clarity when it comes to what it is that you're doing out in the world. But this week, you can engage a little bit more easily in that. You can take those, there's a tendency also to fantasize about what you're doing out in the world, fantasize about the future and your career goals and plans, rather than taking action. And this week is a week when you can actually figure out ways, look at the bigger picture, the broader perspective, your long-term goals and plans, and pull yourself out of the day-to-day grind and look at the bigger picture and how that day-to-day experience makes up those bigger plans and goals and creates that bigger reality and that bigger picture for you in your career. And so this is a time when you can have a lot of benefits that come through your work, through your career, through your goals, through doing creative pursuits and projects in your work, through your coworkers. Also, this is good for your health as well, but this is primarily, I think, a career-focused sort of transit where things might just flow a lot more easily for you in your work this week. And so if you wanted to take hold of that energy and utilize that towards some sort of project, this would be something that you could do quite easily. For Cancer and for Cancer rising, so this is going to be a really good energy at the start of the week. That's actually for your 9th and your 11th house. The 9th house is your beliefs. And the 11th house has an association with your dreams, your hopes, your wishes, your goals in that respect. And so connecting your goals, your plans for the future with your integrity, that's something that you could work on this week. This is also going to be a lot of energy around your friends. You might have a lot of communication coming in, a lot of really expansive, spiritual, philosophical communication, really good, deep conversations with your friends and with the people around you, with your networks. Those types of things can come up for you this week as well. Some sort of higher educational pursuit could be quite beneficial to you right now as well. This also could be a time when you're planning some sort of trip, right? Because you have Jupiter, which is in your 5th house. The 5th house is play, it's fun, it's games, it's what you do because you love to do it. And so Jupiter's been expanding on that area of your life, causing you to engage in your passions, engage in play, engage in connection with your inner child and with your creativity. And right now that connection also has to do with your 9th house, which is the house of your beliefs. It's the house of adventure. It's the house of learning through experience. And with Pisces as the ruler of your 9th and with Neptune transiting through there, this is a good time when you could plan some sort of adventure, plan some sort of trip that is fun and that is really enjoyable and you're passionate about whatever it is that you're going and engaging with and learning, but there's some sort of spiritual purpose or meaning to the trip that you're taking. This could also be planning some sort of education. This could be you engaging in an educational pursuit that's very spiritual or altruistic or compassionate in some sort of way. Even learning things like photography and film and all of that kind of stuff, those Neptunian ruled sorts of topics, that could be something that could be very beneficial and fun for you because you do have a lot of creativity in your chart. And so that's kind of what's going on there. And then if you have your sun, moon, rising around 16 degrees in the sign of Cancer, which, so I would say again, like 14 to 18 degrees would be the strongest that you'd be feeling this. You're having a grand trine going on with your sun, moon, or rising. And so this is a really beautiful time when things can flow really, really nicely for you. The energy is more emotional and intuitive. It's more ethereal than it is tangible. But you feel good on an emotional level and you can achieve a lot in the realms of creativity, in the realms of dreams, in the realms of doing things that are more altruistic, expansive, acting out of integrity, acting out of compassion and love. And you're going to feel much more loving and compassionate throughout the week this week. And so this is a nice energy for Cancers and for Cancer risings in particular. Okay. And for Leo and Leo rising. So for Leo and Leo rising, a couple different things going on. There's a need to take some sort of action in partnership with somebody else. You have Mars right now transiting your 7th house in this really nice trine with the sun in your 11th house. So this could be you reaching out and engaging with groups of people, networking, connecting with people one-on-one. And maybe it's that you're focusing on these groups of people, these networks, your friends, and some of these friendships turn into one-on-one connections that really motivate you to take some sort of action. Mars in the 7th house, as it transits there, it's associated with open enemies, right? And open enemies sort of lashing out at you, but this isn't the case for you right now. This is more associated with passionate connections and connections that motivate you to take some sort of action, new beginnings in relationships, initiating new action in relationships this week that can help propel you toward achievement and success in whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish in those areas. You also have Jupiter in your 4th house of the home and family in this really nice trine with Neptune, which is actually in your 8th house, which rules things like debts, taxes, other people's money, things that disempower you. But it's also deep healing from the inside out. So this is you connecting with other realms, other entities, other energies that are beyond the physical and the tangible, and diving deep into an understanding of that. But this is also you connecting with your home, your family, and things in your home and your family life, and with your property and all of that, just flowing a lot more easily for you. If you have any sort of debt connected to your property, this is a time when you can visualize and envision a way to get out of it a lot more easily. And so, thinking about a big plan and sort of the broader perspective on things. So if you do have like a mortgage or something like that, this is when you can really plan on how to get yourself out of that and how to, pay things off. Or, if you're planning on taking on a mortgage or doing something with your home or your family that involves debt or joint finances, it doesn't have to be debt. Maybe you are in a marriage partnership and you're, thinking about buying a home. This is a time when you can actually connect these energies, because you do actually have this practical energy of Mercury and Taurus in your 10th house. So how am I going to organize my work so I can make more money? How am I going to plan this all out so we can have the right place at the right time, and so we can have the funding that we need, and all of these types of things? All of that can come together for you this week if you sort of just kick back and relax and don't force it, right? Because that's the nature of the trine aspect, is like not forcing something. It's just allowing it to happen, because it's going to flow in on its own as long as you allow it to. But yeah, in general, a lot of love and compassion, expanding on your connections with your family members and with your roots, with your emotional roots, as well as your physical roots in terms of your property, and connecting with yourself and your inner needs, your inner desires, your deepest fears and insecurities can come out in a very easy way for you to sort of look at and just let go of, especially when those fears and anxieties are tied to money or to your family relationships. For Virgo and for Virgo rising, this energy is happening in your 6th and your 10th house for the beginning of the week, with the sun in this really nice trine with Mars. The sun is actually in your 10th house of career and public reputation, which is what's being highlighted for you right now for the next month. And so there's going to be a lot of focus on career. There's going to be a lot of focus on what you're doing out in the world in that respect. And so now is the time when you can really initiate some sort of new project that helps you to achieve your career goals, your career plans. That helps. Also, you can get people in positions of authority to help you and aid you in your achievements right now. So whatever it is that you want to go for when it comes to your work, when it comes to your day-to-day experience, but especially as it relates to the bigger sort of broader perspective of your career goals and plans, now is the time when you can initiate that action, and you'll be much more likely to achieve that action, especially for those of you who have the midheaven around 2 degrees in the sign of Gemini. You'd have to kind of know your chart to look at that, but if you know that and that's there, now's the time to go for it. And then for, the rest of this week, you have this really beautiful energy in your 7th and 3rd house. So this is really enhancing compassionate, loving, altruistic communication in your relationships. And so a lot of good fortune can come through communicating really compassionately and really deeply, from forging really deep spiritual connections with other people this week. And these deep spiritual connections are just going to come in anyway. You're going to be having the deeper conversations, the more philosophical, expansive conversations this week with the people that you're closest to. And new relationships can come in through these communications or through your immediate environment, your neighbors, your neighborhood, your community. Some sort of short distance travel could bring in new friendships, new relationships. And so you're just going to feel like your communication is enhanced. You're feeling much more loving and compassionate and caring in the way that you interact and engage with other people this week. And so, yeah, it's a very beneficial week for Virgos for connecting and reaching out to people. All right, and so for Libra and for Libra rising, a lot of really good energy is happening in your ninth and your fifth house this week. So you could be motivated to engage in some sort of long-term plans or goals that you've been sort of focusing on and wanting to do. You can engage in some sort of creative plans and goals. This is a time when you can take your hobbies, interests, and the things that you love to do and turn them into something that you could actually achieve right now. And so you might feel a lot more motivated to pursue the things that are more like play right now, because you do have Mars transiting the house of fun and games. And so what's going to be motivating you to take action is your passion and your drive and the things that you connect with on a heart level, the things that you enjoy doing, because there's a playful quality to those sorts of endeavors for you. And with this trine going on to the sun, which is in your ninth house, you might be planning some sort of travel plans. You might be planning some sort of higher educational pursuit in order to learn more about those things that you really love to do that feel like play, so you can engage more on a more regular basis in the things that you love to do. But this is a really good time for you to think about travel, to think about higher education, to think about your beliefs about God, the universe, the world around you, the things that give context and meaning to your life, and to connect those types of energies with the energy of the things that you truly love to do. And so travel and learning through experience is definitely favorable for you, throughout this time period. The other things that are going on for you, you have Neptune in your house of health in a really nice trine with Jupiter, which is actually in your second house of money, finance. And so, your finances, your money have been probably a little bit easier or expanded on over these past few months. And the sixth house is the house also of work. It's the house of your day-to-day routines. And so right now you're able to create, I think, a little bit more grace and ease in your day-to-day routines, right? And so learning to sort of go with the flow when it comes to your everyday experience, to move and flow with your own energy. And that can actually be quite beneficial to you on a financial level as well. Any sort of projects or goals that you want to jump into when it comes to your finances, when it comes to your day-to-day work life, when it comes to your health, now's a time when you can flow into that a little bit more easily, or things in those areas will just flow a little bit more easily for you. You don't actually have to do really much to engage and enact in that energy if you don't want to. So if you want to kind of have a break, if you want to have an easier week where you're kicking back and relaxing and not doing so much work, this is a time when you can sort of escape and just kick back and indulge a little bit more. Maybe, spend some money on something a little bit more lavish or luxurious if you're able to do so. That's something that you could do as well. You're also going to have a lot more compassionate connections with people through your work, your coworkers, things of that nature as well. And you might be starting on some sort of creative project or creative endeavor in your work and in your career. And so that's something that you could work on quite easily this week as well. You can envision it and then actually turn it into action later on. Okay, for Scorpio and for Scorpio rising. For Scorpios, a lot of this energy is happening like right in your first house, right? For Scorpio risings. But at the beginning of the week, you're actually going to be having a lot of really good energy in terms of your home, your family, your property, and the eighth house, which has to do with debt, joint finances, other people's money. It's the house of empowerment and deep healing from the inside out. When you have the sun transiting your eighth house, the focus is on your internal world. The focus is on what's going on the inside. The focus is it illuminates the deep, dark secrets, the fears, the things that you don't necessarily want to look at, but are keeping you from becoming fully empowered and fully in control of your own life. And so you have to kind of look at those things this month. And this is a time when you can really take some sort of action to settle any scores with family members, to deal with any sort of deep-seated issues involving your family or your ancestral lineage. This is also a time when you can engage in some sort of positive action that helps you to make moves when it comes to your home, your family, your property especially. This is another one of those aspects where if you are somebody who's looking to like buy a home or renovate a home or take some sort of action involving your property, that's going to require money or joint effort with resources, like maybe, joint finances through marriage are involved, or taxes or property taxes, or, mortgage or something along those lines. If there's something that you want to create or move forward with or achieve in that realm, now's the time when you can really initiate that action, and it'll go a lot more easily for you. You're also going to be having Neptune, which is in your fifth house of romance, coming into this really nice trine with Jupiter in your first house. And you also have Neptune in a really nice sextile with Mercury, which is actually in your seventh house. So this is actually a really good week for you for relationships, for communication, relationships, for deeper, compassionate communication and understanding in relationships. This is also a time when romance can come in, and you might feel more romantic, more creative, more dreamy. You might feel like you want to just escape and do things that are creative and that are fun for you, as opposed to actually like engaging with work and engaging with the real world. You can escape into relationship this week very easily. This is also a time when a lot of great benefits can come to you through the connections and communications that you have throughout this week. And so that's something that could be coming up for you as well. In general, this is a really good week where you're going to be feeling much more relaxed, much more at ease, much more compassionate. People might be more drawn to you. You might come across as more likable. You might have some big grandiose visions for the future. You might be daydreaming a lot more, especially for those who have sun, moon, rising, near the 16th degree of Scorpio. So between, let's see, like 14 to 18 degrees, but even a little wider orb than that is still going to be feeling this quite a bit. But this is a very compassionate, loving energy. This is the energy of manifestation. This is the energy of visualizing something and then achieving it later on. And these goals that you want to achieve have to do with children. They have to do with play. They have to do with the things that you love to do. And they also have to do with your close personal relationships and the things that you do in partnership with others. For Sagittarius and for Sagittarius rising, a lot of good energy at the start of this week having to do with communication, especially communication in relationships. Your one-on-one connections with people can motivate you to take some sort of new action to achieve something. Your communication with your partner can improve in the sense that you can be communicating about ideas and things that you want to achieve and accomplish moving forward. And you can actually, through that communication, work things out and set your goals and set your sights on your goals and initiate some sort of new action together this week. And so this is a good week for your relationships. This is also a really nice week for your home, your family, your property. You might want to kick back and relax a little bit more. You might not necessarily want to jump out and achieve all these things that you're talking and discussing about, but this is a really good time when you can kick back and relax and just spend time in the energy of your home, your property, spend time decompressing and getting yourself out of the world. And so you're going to find the most ease this week in your home life. You're going to find the most ease this week in solitude. You're going to feel best in solitude and best at home. You're not going to really be wanting to go out on the town or do anything crazy. There's going to be a lot of communication coming in this week, though, which is going to make it a little bit difficult for you to find that solitude and seclusion. But as long as you're able to disengage from that when need be, this could actually be a really nice week for you to sort of just kick back, relax, indulge a little bit, spend time focusing on your spirituality and your spiritual health. Spend time focusing on caring for your family and connecting with them in a deep, compassionate way. That's sort of the best way to utilize this energy. So that's what's going on this week. For Capricorn and Capricorn rising, there is a lot of energy at the beginning of the week involving your desire to achieve some sort of goal involving your finances and your day-to-day work experience. There could also be health goals that you might want to move forward with that might require some sort of resources or financial commitment, and that's something that you could do a lot more easily this week as well. But if there are any big projects in your day-to-day work life that you want to sort of initiate or move forward with, now is the time to do it. These projects will be much more likely to succeed and much more likely to bring money in. So that's something that's important as well. The other thing that's going on for Capricorn and Capricorn rising is that there's a lot of benefits coming through communication and through your social networks this week. So getting out there to network, to connect with your friends in a deep, compassionate way, to communicate creatively with the people around you, and just in general, networking, connecting with groups of people, communicating with others, all of these things are very beneficial for you this week. So engaging in socializing, right? That's going to be where you can find the escape, where you can find that good positive energy where things flow quite nicely for you this week. And for Aquarius and Aquarius rising, a lot of the energy, so especially if you are an Aquarius at the first couple degrees of Aquarius with your sun, moon, or rising, this is going to be the strongest for all of you. But the energy here is pulling you to jump into something new, but the new thing that you're jumping into is something that involves play, fun, creativity, the things that you love to do out in the world. It's not just like initiating something because you want to achieve it. It's initiating something because your heart's in it, right? Because you connect with it on that heart level, and it's authentically something that's connected to your purpose, your passion in life. And you can really achieve your desired aims this week. So doing anything involving children, involving like high school education, involving play, involving your hobbies and your interests, like I mentioned before, but also involving things like romance, right? If you want to initiate some sort of big romantic gesture or something like that, that's something you could do as well, because you might feel a little fired up anyway to want to do something like that. The other things that are really nice for you are that you've been having Neptune transiting Pisces in your second house, which is not the easiest placement for Neptune. When Neptune's transiting your second house, it's like money just flows right through your fingertips. It's like, where did that all just go? Like the money will flow in when you need it, but it'll just disappear just as easily. And it's very hard to keep track of your finances throughout, the entire, I mean, this is a really long transit. I think it's like 14 years or something with Neptune. But when it's activated, it makes it stronger, right? But this is going to be activating this transit in a positive way where money can flow in through your achievements out in the world, through what you're doing when it comes to your career and your public reputation. And so money can be flowing into your second house quite easily for you right now into this week. And if there are any sort of goals or plans that you want to move forward with, or that you've been sort of thinking about, I wouldn't necessarily say that you would jump into them right away because, Jupiter's in retrograde. So this is you revisiting something that you were thinking about achieving and accomplishing when it comes to your career goals and what it is that, and the way that you create resources for yourself. This is you revisiting that, visualizing it, contemplating it, seeing it, feeling it, but maybe not moving forward with it just yet, but starting to create those plans so that way when it comes to pass in August for the final time, you're really able to accomplish your goals out in the world and to funnel that money into your second house quite easily. And so, this is a good week for your career and for your work and what you're doing out in the world. Things can come together quite nicely for you. And then for Pisces and Pisces rising, so a lot of energy involving your home, family, property, and also the 12th house, which is things that are hidden away from the world. The 12th house is 12th house institutions like prisons, hospitals, ashrams, temples, monasteries, places that are hidden away from the world. Even places like brothels are ruled by the 12th house technically because they're hidden away from the world. And the 12th house rules everything from the sacred to the profane. And so this is a time when if you want to initiate something involving any of those institutions, you might be able to achieve that quite easily. But really this is about you focusing your energy around the home, the family, your comfort zones, the way that you seek solitude, your spiritual practices, and really accomplishing things in these areas. So if you wanted to start a new project in the home, if you want to buy a home, if you want to focus your energy on your home and your family and accomplishing something in that realm, now's the time to do it and to seek more solitude, to actively initiate a new spiritual practice that takes you away from the world and helps you to sort of decompress and separates you from the busyness of the day-to-day experience. That's something that you could start working on, this week, and it would flow a lot more easily for you. A lot of these really great benefits are coming from your 9th house. So you have Jupiter in the 9th house right now, expanding on your desire to travel, to engage in higher educational pursuits, to learn through experience. So your adventurous side might come out a little bit this week, but you might be more fantasizing about these adventures than actually indulging in taking these adventures. If you are dreaming up all these big travel plans and things like that, they might come to fruition a couple months down the line, closer to August. And this is a time when you're just sort of planning, right? Because this is planning, and this could be planning some sort of short-term travel too as well, with Mercury in Taurus as part of this configuration in your 3rd house of short distance travel, of communication, and of making plans, right? Thinking about things. And so this is a time when you can really visualize what it is that you want in terms of the bigger picture and the broader perspective. This is a time when you can engage in new spiritual practices and new forms of learning and higher wisdom. This is a time when you can connect with spiritual teachers and people that can help you to get to the deeper meaning, as well as the broader picture and the bigger perspective on life, that can help you to give context and meaning to your day-to-day experience. And this is a really great time for you to engage in learning some new skill sets, be it a practical one or one of those more broader sorts of educational pursuits. And so if those are things that you've been thinking about and contemplating, now's the time when you can really move forward with that. All right, so that is all 12 signs, you guys. So overall, this is a really nice week. There's a lot of good energy going on. Of course, this is dependent on your own individual charts. If you have something chaotic going on at the same time, that's probably going to be more prevalent. But in general, this is a forecast for, the 12 signs. And if you do want a personalized reading, one-on-one, you can always book a reading with me. The link is in the description of this video down below. And as always, be sure to subscribe to my channel so that way you can keep up to date on the latest astrological weather. And I'll be back next week with another forecast. Bye. Thank you.